Associates. Sorry about that earlier broadcast. It didn't work. I thought it was going to. We're still working on some bugs. I'm sorry for doing that to you. We're coming on the air a little bit later, but we will still want to come on the air to see you tonight. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kittiawah Beach, North Carolina. Folks, I want to talk about weather first. We have numerous tornadoes have been spotted. We have numerous severe thunderstorms all around the Midwest we want to talk about. That's where I'm going tonight, right now. I have a lot to say here. I hope you won't find this broadcast any way or shape or form disjointed. I hope you find this broadcast something that you're going to be able to use and hear. We have a lot to say, a lot of things to go on here. I want to make that point perfectly clear. What has been going on? Hurricane Heather has been working with the weather all day long. Presently, a tornado warning continues in Oskaloosa, Iowa, Albia, Iowa, Eddyville, Iowa, until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A tornado warning continues for Colfax, Wisconsin, Elk Mound, Wisconsin, and Rusk, Wisconsin, until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, which is approximately 12 minutes from now. We're going to report about another tornado warning that's continuing for Claremore, Oklahoma, Pryor, Oklahoma, and Sportsman Acres, Oklahoma, until 6:15 p.m., which is about 22 minutes from now, Central Daylight Time. Another warning until 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time, over 40 minutes from now. A tornado warning including Waverly, Iowa, Parkersburg, Iowa, and Clarksville, Iowa, until 6:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A tornado warning continues for Henry County, Missouri. Henry County, Missouri. Pettis County, Missouri, until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, approximately 10 minutes from now. A tornado warning continues for Green City, Missouri, Queen City, Missouri, and Novager, Missouri, until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Folks, we want to caution everybody. If you're presently under a tornado warning or a watch, keep your eyes peeled. If you're under a tornado warning, seek shelter immediately. Don't even think about anything else. Seek shelter immediately. Take your emergency weather radios that we've asked you to get, if you have those, take them down with you, and take your phones with you as well. Heidi Petrick says, welcome to EMA1. Heidi Petrick joined us as a member of our emergency management community here. I appreciate that, Heidi, so very much. We'll talk about that later. Talk more about membership in the Emergency Management Associates community a little bit later. Another tornado warning including Menominee, Wisconsin, Tainter Lake, Wisconsin, and Colfax, Wisconsin, until at least 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Folks, this is no joke. A tornado warning including Claremore, Oklahoma, Pryor, Oklahoma, and Verdigris, Oklahoma, until 6:15 Central Daylight Time, which is another almost 25 minutes from now. Tornado warning continues for Red Wing, Minnesota, Bay City, Wisconsin, and Hager City, Wisconsin, until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, another 10 minutes from now. Rita Clements also joined our Emergency Management Associates membership here. Thank you so much for that. God bless you for that. Helping support our channel here. A tornado warning just expired for Melrose, Iowa. It expired approximately 5 minutes ago. A tornado warning is also still in effect, including, again, Oskaloosa, Iowa, Albia, Iowa, and Eddyville, Iowa until 6:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A tornado warning including Cole Camp, Missouri and Iona, Missouri until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, 10 minutes from now. A tornado warning including Milan, Missouri, Green City, Missouri, and Queen City, Missouri until 6 p.m. this evening. Windsor, Missouri, Calhoun, Missouri until 6 p.m. Tornado warning, Red Wing, Minnesota, Cannon Falls, Minnesota, and Bay City, Wisconsin until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. A tornado warning continues for Gilman, Iowa, Laura, Iowa, and Haverhill, Iowa. This may have been expired. We will check back with this. It may have expired by now there in Iowa. Gilman, Iowa, Laura, Iowa, and Haverhill, Iowa. We will check back with that. Folks, this is no joke. This is absolutely no joke. The tornado warning continues for Colfax, Wisconsin, Elk Mound, Wisconsin, and Rusk, Wisconsin until 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Folks, we need you to pay attention to this. Your very safety is absolutely in check here. Please make sure that if you're in the tornado warning area that you've already sought shelter. Take your AM, FM weather radio and your telephone with you down into the shelter. If you're not already watching Emergency Management Associates, I urge you to watch Ryan Hall on YouTube. He's broadcasting and he has storm chasers that are in the areas watching what's going on. Mary Pedersen says tornado video shows at least 4 wind turbines knocked down in Prescott, Iowa. That's what I saw as well. Folks, this is no joke. These tornadoes are taking down these windmills, destroying them. This is the other reason we want you to be safe and in your shelters. Another tornado watch has been issued for parts of Illinois and Missouri until 12 a.m. Central Daylight Time. Again, our tornado watch has been issued for parts of Illinois and Missouri until 12 a.m. Central Daylight Time, some 5 hours from now. That watch area includes Galesburg, Illinois, Macomb, Illinois, Jacksonville, Quincy, going down into Missouri, St. Louis, Troy, Columbia, Jefferson City, Village of Four Seasons, Sullivan, Fort Leonard Wood, West Plains, and Branson, Missouri. Arnold Schmidt says, maybe I need a newer PC. I have a newer PC. I don't understand, and I have the highest bandwidth that you can buy, and I'm still being buffered. I don't know why. We're going to take our PC back in to our computer guy and see if we can figure this out. But folks, this is absolutely necessary. You need to pay attention. Again, parts of Illinois and Missouri that I just talked about are under a tornado watch until 12 a.m. Central Daylight Time, approximately 5 hours from now. A tornado warning is continuing for Oskaloosa, Iowa, Eddyville, Iowa, Beacon, Iowa, until 6:15 Central Daylight Time, another 20 minutes. We will stay on top of this to keep you informed about what's going on. But you need to pay attention. If you are in these watches, pay attention to what's going on around you. If you have AM, FM weather radios if you only have AM, FM radios, tune your radios to a news talk station. Only to a news talk station. Do not listen to music. Turn your AM, FM radios to a news talk station that will give you up-to-the-minute weather information. If you have an AM, FM weather radio, tune your radio to the weather channel that will give you up-to-date information about what's going on in your immediate area by the National Weather Service. Your local community may also take in that weather channel and use it to inform you what's going on in your immediate area. We got another warning here. It's continuing for Pryor, Oklahoma, Sportsman Acres, Oklahoma, and Boatman, Oklahoma until 6:15 Central Daylight Time, approximately 20 minutes from now. Actually, 15 more minutes from now. My clock on the wall is about 5 minutes late. So these tornado warnings are continuing. Again, Pryor, Oklahoma, Sportsman Acres, Oklahoma, and Boatman, Oklahoma until 6:15 this evening. Okay? Please, folks, watch what you're doing. Pay attention to these storm warnings. This is going to be for your benefit, and it may save your life and the lives of your family. Just a minute, I've got to take care of something. Sorry guys, I just had to take care of somebody here. And yes, everyone, please stay on topic of what we're talking about. Okay, please stay on topic. Okay, guys, sorry we had a panhandler. He's gone. Canadian Patriot 1 is here in our chat. I'm glad to see him. Dave, I'm glad you're all right and here. We appreciate that. Dave is one of our best friends from over there in Canada. We appreciate you so much. Folks, we are going to continue these weather warnings as they come up tonight. I'm going to be monitoring what Heather has here in our chats, and I'm going to put it out on the air tonight. We need this information. So we will be monitoring this information going forward. Something else that I want to talk about, and I think it's very important. We have some earthquakes going on. Okay? We have a lot of earthquakes happening. The earthquakes are not being, as I've talked about in the past, the earthquakes are not, they're absolutely not being truthful over at the USGS. So I'm going to put them up here for you to see as much as I can. Roguefish is talking about an ISP or our router. Our router is perfect. It's a brand new router, and we have the highest bandwidth we can possibly get. Right before I came on the area, our bandwidth was up, or kilobytes per second was over 562 kilobytes per second. That's huge. Yes, Arnold, I have a modem here. The modem is supplying me with high process bandwidth that you can get. It's brand new. It's brand new. Okay? And yes, it is compatible. All right. Something that I want to talk to you about tonight over in New York. There has been a 2.1 magnitude earthquake in Elizabethtown, New York. A 2.1 magnitude earthquake in Elizabethtown, New York today. Okay? Down in New Jersey is continuing to have aftershocks some 2 months after a 4.5 earthquake was reported there. That earthquake was not a 4.5, as I said before, and I've shown you the data on it. That earthquake was not a 4.5, it was a 5.9. It was a 5.9, over a magnitude and a half larger than what USGS said it was. Again, they will never tell us the truth. They will never tell us the truth. Brokefish is also saying that Ryan Hall is live. I appreciate that. We will be monitoring his channel going forward tonight as well. But Hunterdon County, New Jersey had a 1.6 magnitude tremor today. A 1.6 magnitude tremor over there in New Jersey today. Earthquakes continuing getting hammered there. I've explained why we're getting earthquakes there. Going over to western Texas, we have a swarm of earthquakes there. Southern Texas, we have a 2.0 in Tilden, Texas. A 2.0 in Tilden, Texas today. Western Texas, we still have a pretty good sized swarm. About 15 earthquakes have hit in southwestern Texas. Going from Toyah, Texas, over to Culberson County, Texas, going over to Van Horn, Texas. 1.5s and 2.5 earthquakes are happening all over this western region of Texas. They're happening because this area is right smack dab in the middle of an oil field. Right smack dab in the middle of an oil field. Look at this. This shows that earthquake, but it's also showing all of these oil platforms all over there in Texas. Okay? That's what's happening. Every one of these earthquakes are in an oil and gas field. Every one of them. We've shown you this before. These are oil and gas platform quakes. This one in Culberson County is a 2.3. And you can see, excuse me a second, you can see the oil and gas platforms up here. If an earthquake is less than 10 miles away from one of these platforms, guess what? It's an oil and gas fracking quake. Okay? That's what's happening in Texas. All right? Now, I want to go over to the Pacific Northwest. We've had an earthquake off the Oregon coast. A 3.1 earthquake hit last night over on the Blanco fracture zone. The Blanco fracture zone. A 3.1 earthquake, okay? 1:09 a.m. this morning. 1:09 a.m. this morning. Folks, this is big time. We cannot play games any longer with the USGS. We can't. We can't afford it. We cannot afford to play these games with this organization. They're not reporting quakes. Okay? Brokefish has got to go spend some time with his son, stay safe, and have a safe spot ASAP. Brokefish, thank you. Go take care of your son, please. We appreciate you. Brokefish is the only caretaker for his son. His wife passed away some time ago. So we want him to stay safe and to be with his son. We appreciate his participation on our program. This earthquake hit just after 1 a.m. this morning over here on the Blanco fracture zone, approximately 200 miles off the coast of Oregon. Okay? Then, almost directly east of there, Fair Oaks, Oregon. This is a 1.51 tremor here. Just northeast from there, Three Rivers, Oregon. This is a minus 0.19 quake. Minus numbers are because the agency says it is above sea level. They say it's above sea level. Let's zoom in on this, okay? I want to show you. Guess where this earthquake is? Newberry Crater. Newberry volcano. Look at that. Right smack dab at a volcano. If it's above sea level, the only reason it's above sea level is it's at the volcano itself. Let's take a look at this, okay? It is about 1/4 of a mile deep. 1/4 of a mile deep. It's not above sea level, it's down inside the volcano at Newberry Crater. It's at the pumice cone. It's at the pumice cone at Newberry Crater. Okay? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? They report an earthquake near Three Rivers, Oregon. That turns out it's at Newberry Crater. We've seen that happen many times. Many, many times. I want to go north. Okay? Canby, Oregon. This is a 1.6 tremor there. Right next to it, just west of there, Lafayette, Oregon. This is a 0.89 tremor there. I'm calling it a tremor. Usually 0.89 would indicate a microquake. I believe it is larger than that. Okay? Roguefish is saying that's a third earthquake this week at Newberry Crater. Isn't that interesting? The third earthquake this week at Newberry Crater. Not surprising at all. Not surprising at all. Newberry Crater is increasing seismicity. Every one of these volcanoes, guys, we have increased seismicity. This is Lost Center, Washington. This is a 1.68 tremor there. Okay? North of there, and I want to show you this. This is Mount St. Helens. Today, they're not reporting any earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. I bet if we brought up a seismogram, there'd be plenty of earthquakes there. But again, they don't want to tell us. How about Mount Rainier? Mount Rainier. Right down the throat of Mount Rainier. And USGS is reporting this, and so are the other agencies, and my map is coming from the European agency, EMSC. Ashford, Washington. This is being reported as 13 miles east-northeast of Ashford, Washington. This is a 0.27 microquake at Mount Rainier. It's nowhere near Ashford, Washington. This should be reported at Mount Rainier, not Ashford, Washington, or any recollection other than that. Okay? They don't know what they're talking about. They absolutely don't know what they're talking about. An earthquake at Mount Rainier, and this, folks, is half a mile or a quarter mile deep. Just over a quarter mile deep. Okay? Now, those are the earthquakes in Oregon and Washington today. We have earthquakes at Mount Rainier. We have earthquakes down here at Newberry Volcano. And earthquakes all over Oregon and even down into California. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief update about California. Today, okay, north of the geysers, Willits, California had a 1.44 tremor. Willits, California gets hit all the time. All the time. South of there, we have 20 plus earthquakes over here at the geysers, Sonoma County, California. Why are we getting hit with earthquakes at the geysers? It's a geothermal area. It's very much a geothermal area. And folks, guess what? They get hit all the time. This is not anything new. They get hit all the time. 20 to 30 earthquakes at the geysers facility every day. Every day. Okay? They'll get hit and get hit and get hit. Why? Let me show you real quick. If you notice, there is a lake just north of the geysers area. This is the earthquakes at the geysers, Sonoma County, California. We go up here. Scientists, well, not even scientists, but geologists have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano. It's called the Clear Lake volcano. They drilled into the upper magma chamber to retrieve steam to power turbines here at the geysers facility. There are 80 plus turbines here. The last time I counted, I believe it was last November, there were 80 turbines here. It used to be only 40 some turbines. Now it's increased to 80. The steam here is processed down here at the geysers facility, and it powers turbines to generate electricity for 4 energy conglomerates, including Rocky Mountain Power and Pacific Gas and Electric. Okay? That's what's going on at the geysers facility. Now, during the past 2 weeks, we've also seen minor earthquakes at Clear Lake Volcano. All of the volcanoes are getting to the point where they're getting ready to erupt. I'm not saying Clear Lake Volcano is getting ready to erupt necessarily, but it's recharging. Every one of the volcanoes is recharging. Okay? Diane Kelman is asking a good question, and I have somewhat of an answer for her. Diane, yes, the USGS is not reporting everything, and they never will. They say there's not enough room on the maps for all the earthquakes. That is a quote from Lucy Jones, who used to work for USBS back approximately 2019. Okay? Why is there no other agency that will audit them? Because the government does not want an agency to audit them. Now, why? The politicians are telling USGS what to do. The politicians are telling the United States Geological Survey, don't report on this and don't report on that. Why? Because if the USGS did report on these earthquakes, people would leave these areas where there's going to be major earthquakes. People would not stick around where they're going to get hurt or where they might be killed. Okay? They're not going to do that. And as a result, USGS will not report on those earthquakes. They're not reporting on all the earthquakes that are happening in southwestern Canada. They're not reporting on all the earthquakes in Washington, Oregon, and California. They're not reporting on all of the earthquakes on the East Coast or the New Madrid Fault. They're not reporting hardly anything, and they're not reporting anything around the world very much. They're only reporting around the world what they think they want us to hear, and that's all. It's just like the media. The politicians don't want us to know what's going on, and they counsel the media only report on what we're telling you to report. That's it. That's all that they want us to know. Don't, heaven forbid, don't tell the American public anything. And if you do, we won't let you continue. That's the bottom line. They don't want us to know what's going on. They never will. Okay? They honestly don't want it to be known, unfortunately. Anyway, I want to go over San Francisco. just east of San Francisco Bay. San Leandro, California had a 2.3 and a 2.1 earthquake here. San Leandro, California was a 2.3 and a 2.1 earthquake right there. These are not the only earthquakes here. They're not. There's earthquakes all over that area. Those are just minor earthquakes too. Over on the northeast side of San Francisco Bay, Antioch, California. This is a 2.15 earthquake. Also a minor earthquake. Now, I want to show you something. Please watch this, so at least you have a good idea what's going on. These two earthquakes here are on the Hayward Fault. The Hayward Fault starts way up here to the north and runs right along the east side of San Francisco Bay. This earthquake here is on a separate fault. It's called the Calaveras Fault. This fault also runs way up north here in California, all the way down here until it gets down here near Monterey Bay. Both these earthquake faults converge here near Monterey Bay. They both converge. This is one of the most dangerous earthquake areas in all of California. 3 of the largest earthquake faults in California converge right here. The Calaveras, the Hayward, and the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault. Now, I've shown this to you again, and I'm going to show it to you a lot. Okay? I want you to understand what we're seeing here. Okay? Up here to the north. Right here we have the Cascadia subduction zone. This is the earthquake fault that runs from here in Northern California all the way up here until it gets to Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia. It runs all the way up here to British Columbia, the Cascadia subduction zone. Right here, also at Queen Charlotte Island, we have the Juan de Fuca Fault. The Juan de Fuca Fault. Now, what is going on? The Juan de Fuca Fault makes connection right here with the Blanco Fracture Zone, where we had this earthquake early this morning last night. The Blanco Fracture Zone makes contact right here with the Gorda Ridge. The Gorda Ridge makes contact with the Gorda Escarpment right here. The Gorda Escarpment and the Cascadia subduction zone and the San Andreas Fault connect right here. It's called the triple junction for a reason. 3 different major earthquake faults out here in the ocean converge right here. The San Andreas right here, the Cascadia subduction zone, and the Gorda Escarpment, the triple junction. We've seen a lot of earthquakes here. They're not reporting anything today. We've seen a lot of earthquakes here. Now, the San Andreas Fault, as we've been telling you even this week, as of yesterday, the San Andreas Fault here goes from up here at the triple junction all the way through California. Literally all the way through California. It comes down here, okay? It comes all the way down here. Why? What do we have here? What is so gosh awful important right here? Can anybody tell me what we have here? Anybody know? We have another huge earthquake fault. And the earthquake fault I'm about to talk about, the scientists didn't even realize it existed until 2019 after the Ridgecrest earthquake hit. Okay? It's called the Garlock Fault. The Garlock Fault. Okay? The Garlock Fault is right here. It runs from the San Andreas Fault here and goes out here to the Ridgecrest area. The Garlock Fault. The Garlock Fault is capable of a 7.5 earthquake. This entire area here, from the San Andreas all the way out here to Ridgecrest, is capable of a 7.5 earthquake. What did we have in 2019? July 2019. On July 3rd, here in Ridgecrest, July 3rd, we had two 6.9 earthquakes in Ridgecrest. One of those 6.9 earthquakes was taken down. The other they kept up, but they reduced the magnitude on that quake. They took it down from 6.9 to 6.4. There were two separate earthquakes, and USGS made one of them go away. Two separate and distinct earthquakes, and I still have the data on it. Two separate and distinct earthquakes, and I have the data on it. USGS made one of them go away. The next day, approximately 12 noon Mountain Time at Ridgecrest, California, which is 11 a.m. Pacific Time, we had a 7.1 earthquake. We had a 7.1 earthquake. Scientists are now saying that that 7.1 earthquake here at Ridgecrest may have been an 8.0. It may have been an 8.0. It caused massive damage. Because it was such a rural area, no one was killed. It caused several fires. It caused several fires there. It caused fissures to open up in roadways and roadways to be closed down. A lot of damage all over this area. This is the Mojave Desert. The Mojave Desert. We're still having earthquakes. We're still having earthquakes. Searles Valley today, we have two earthquakes there. Little Lake, California, we had a 0.84 and a 0.59 microquake there in Little Lake, California. Northeast of there, also they're saying Searles Valley, we had a 3.0 earthquake right there. Okay? Kozo Junction. Kozo Volcanic Field. Kozo Volcanic Field, we had a 0.86 microquake. It's a volcanic field. Over here at the Kozo Junction, Kozo Volcanic Field guys, we had earthquake. Not just one. They're only showing us one. It's a huge volcanic field, guys. It's a huge volcanic field. We have another geothermal plant there. Well, here's Rasa's here's Rasa's an 8.0 in the Mojave Desert. I didn't say an 8.0. It was a 0.83 microquake in the Mojave Desert at Kozo Volcanic Field. Okay? Demon Catman said there was a Ridgecrest earthquake several years ago that scientists said was probably an 8.0. That's what they said. It came out as a 7.1. Like I said, 2 days prior to that, there were two 6.9s, and I still have those earthquakes on my hard drive. I'm going to keep it because I'm holding USGS's feet to the fire. That's what we all need to do. We need to hold their feet to the fire. They don't know how to act. They're getting politicians' influence, and all they're being told is, don't report earthquakes. don't be truthful about what's going on. That's why we're seeing so much energy popping all over California and nobody's talking about it. We're seeing energy pop all over the world and nobody's talking about it. USGS will never tell us the truth about what's going on there. Never in a million years. They don't do that. They don't talk about anything there. To their detriment. To their detriment. Now, I wanted to show you one of the turbine facilities at the Coastal Volcanic Field, but it's not letting me zoom into the area. Dadgummit. They're not letting me zoom in and get close enough to show you that. Darn it all. Okay. Democast says California's crackling where the San Andreas is likely to start. Folks, honestly, if the truth be known, the San Andreas is going to open up just east of LA. That is where scientists are saying right now that it's more likely to open up. East of Los Angeles and south of there into the Imperial Valley, as I reported to you last night. It's happening. We have a lot of proof of it, as I showed you last night. We have a ton of it. USGS will never say a darn word. Okay? We reported on all those earthquakes in Los Angeles, Imperial Valley, and San Diego County, but USGS says squat. Richard Smith says the house of cards is getting ready to fall. I agree. I agree. But how far is the fall going to be? How far is the fall going to go? Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. This is a 1.27 tremor here at Tehachapi along the Garlight Fault. Then we're going to go down here again to the San Andreas. Great thing. Vincent, California, 0.88. Okay? Now, Candace is saying that many coastal earthquakes north of Santa Monica and Malibu along the plate. You're absolutely right. There are. Santa Barbara, Lompoc, Solvang, having earthquakes, and yet nobody says a word about it. When I go to pull up the seismographs on those, guess what? They're mostly blank. They're mostly blank. Sometimes they may show one tremor there, one tiny tremor. That doesn't happen. One tiny tremor does not happen. Okay? Never. It's not just one tremor. It's dozens of tremors. It's not just one earthquake, it's dozens of earthquakes. And yet, they don't want anybody to know what's going on. Okay? Please, folks, as my mods have said tonight, please stay on topic. Please stay on topic. If you're not staying on topic, you're not going to be paying attention to what we're talking about. And it's vital that you understand what we're saying. It's vital that you understand for your own safety and the safety of your family. Okay? Even the Christians here that are posting Christian information here in the chat. Keep that for later. Keep that for later, guys. Okay? Yes, I am a Christian man. And I teach Sunday school here every Sunday. I've been teaching Sunday school for a long time. At the end of this program, I talk about a message. I give you all a devotional. So keep your comments about Christianity to the end of this program, please. Okay? We continue south of Vincent, California, west of the San Andreas Fault. Home Gardens, California. Glen Avon, California, 1.09. Just west of there, 2 more earthquakes. Corona, California. We'll continue to see earthquakes in Corona, California. A 1.27 and a 1.14 tremor in Corona, California today. Incredible. They're still happening. At the beginning of last week, we saw a 4.5 in Corona, and ever since then, we've seen aftershocks from that. They're still continuing. Jackie Slack says, do you think Missouri will have earthquakes? Missouri is already having earthquakes, and we've reported on it. Missouri is right smack dab in the center of the Pneumatic Fault. It's going to continue to have earthquakes, and we have even seen 3.0 to 3.9 small quakes. We've seen 4.0, 4.9 moderate quakes on the Pneumatic Fault. Up until 3 years ago, we didn't see that. All we were seeing even 3 years ago were just tremors and microquakes. Now we're seeing full-blown earthquakes, and as I've said before, the Pneumatic Fault is going to go, and I believe it's going to be happening within the next 2 years. I believe the Pneumatic Fault is going to open up within the next 2 years. I don't see how it could not. We see, yes, we do see tremors there. Yes, we do see microquakes there. Yes, we do see minor earthquakes all the time. But even this past week, USGS showed 3.27 earthquakes in Tennessee and Missouri. But there are a lot more earthquakes than that. They only want to report what they want to report, and that's it. Continuing in California, please stay with me, guys. I want you to know what's going on. Over here in the Anza Gap, we're still having earthquakes here. It's Cabazon. Cabazon. Folks, that is a 0.99, 1.0 tremor here in Cabazon. Okay? What's going on here? Look at all these earthquakes here. Swarm of earthquakes west of Cabazon, west of the San Andreas Fault. Okay? 0.42. Idlewild, a 1.52 in the Anza Gap area, guys. The Anza Gap. Tremors. 0.40, 0.52. Going into the Anza Borrego Desert area, Anza Borrego State Park in northeast San Diego County, we have 0.49. We have 1.38, 0.70, 0.76. Anza Borrego Desert State Park here. This whole area here is the Anza Borrego State Park. Up here, it's in the Anza Gap, just north of the state park. Folks, it's right smack dab on the San Jacinto Fault. Right smack dab on the San Jacinto Fault. Okay? It's happening. It's happening, and it continues to happen. Now, west of there, we have some earthquakes over in San Diego County. This is Fallbrook, California. Fallbrook, California, right there. Okay? That earthquake is a 0.4 0.42 microquake. South of there, this is Lake Henshaw. This is 0.83 microquake at Lake Henshaw, just northeast of Escondido, California. I used to fish here. We've had 2.0 earthquakes at Lake Henshaw before. Those earthquakes here, I want to point this out. These earthquakes right here, these are on the Elsinore Fault. These earthquakes are on the Elsinore Fault. Okay? Further south, Julian, California. A 1.4 and a 1.42 earthquake in Julian. Julian is a small mountainous town in eastern San Diego County. It's a town that grows apples. In the late August time period and up into September and October, you can go and pay a little bit of money, and I'm saying a little bit of money, to harvest apples yourselves off the trees in Julian. You can go up right now to Julian, and it might be a little crisp in the mornings, but it's probably getting to be warmer there in the afternoons. Julian, California, guys, you can get hot apple pie and cider there. You can get full-blown meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in Julian. It's a great place to go. There are curio shops and a museum over there, as well as hotels, bed and breakfast and such. It's a great place. It's in the mountainous community of Julian, California, in the East San Diego County Mountains. Okay? Julian ought to be paying me. Julian ought to be paying me because I talk about Julian quite frequently. I've been in Julian many, many times. Julian is a former mining community. They had silver and gold mines over there just around the Julian area. Okay? It's crazy. Maria Redfeather's asking, what about Camp Feligrei supervolcano over in Italy? It's just steaming, that's all it's doing. That's all that volcano is doing is steam. Yes, it is a supervolcano. But the scientists in Italy are just watching it. It's not much going on there right now. We're going to keep an eye on it too. Just a second, I'm taking care of a problem here. One more troll gone. Raceburr says the Camp Feligrei in Italy looks like it's going to blow. I don't think it's going to blow very soon. Yes, I believe all of the volcanoes, including Camp Feligrei, and other volcanoes, including Mount Etna and Stromboli over there just off the coast of southern Italy, those are already erupting. Camp Feligrei is steaming. Yes, it's a possibility it could erupt. It could. We are paying attention to it, and if something happens, we will report it. Okay? That's what's going on. Going over into the Imperial Valley of California, just south of the Salton Sea, we have two earthquakes. One of them being a 1.34 in Calipatria, and one being a 1.0 here in Westmoreland. Okay? Calipatria. Okay? They're showing this earthquake here in Calipatria. This one here that we're showing here is a 1.4 over in Westmoreland. Yesterday we showed you plenty of information on the seismograms, showing you the Westmoreland seismogram showing you plenty of earthquakes. They're only showing us 2 minor tremors there. There's a lot more than that. both at Calipatria and Westmoreland. Probably close to 100 earthquakes at Calipatria, and I dare say between the tremors and microquakes and earthquakes at Westmoreland, there's probably 50 to 75 at Westmoreland, and I'll dare say it's the same way today. It has not changed. The only change is USBS is not admitting to anything. They're not. They won't tell us. They won't tell us. Just so you know, they're also not showing any earthquakes at all here in the Gulf of California. Yesterday and the day before we had some small earthquakes, a 4.1 here in the Gulf of California, and it was right here. 4.1 right here. Okay? Now, what's going on in southern Mexico? I want to show you. Right here. There's probably close to 30 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Coming down here from the northern part of Guatemala all the way up here, and I'm going to show you where up here is. This is Puerto Vallarta. Right here, this is in the resort area of Mexico. Okay? Manzanillo, Zihuatanejo, this area here. This is a 3.4 small earthquake there. 3.4 earthquake there. South of there, also a 3.7. Okay? Then we go further south. Now we get into the swarms of earthquakes. Petotlan, Mexico, a 3.1. A 3.4 in Michelina, Guerrero, Mexico, a 3.4 there. Then we get into the swarms of quakes here. Okay? Down here, and I'm not going to show every quake, but I'm just going to give you a handful of them. 3.5, 4.0, 3.5, 4.0, 3.8, 3.9, 3.1, 3.6. Okay? They're all over here. Now, while these are small three-pointers, guess what? We also have some fours here as well. Small 3.0, 3.9s, and some 4.0 to 4.9 moderate earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Guess what, folks? What happened yesterday down here? We had a 5.3 here. We had a 5.3 just off the coast of Mexico and Guatemala right there. A 5.3 earthquake just off the coast. It's on the Cocos Plate. On the Cocos Plate. We have plenty of earthquakes, guys. 3.8 there. 4.2 here, still in Mexico. There's probably 30 earthquakes over in southern Mexico. 40 earthquakes. Then we go over to Guatemala here. Here's a 2.8. 2.8. 3.6, Nicaragua. El Salvador, 3.2. 2.7. 3.4, Nicaragua. Going further south, 3.6, Nicaragua. Okay? Further south, Costa Rica. The northern area at the border area of Nicaragua and Costa Rica, we have a 3.5, a 2.9, another 3.4 in Costa Rica. Okay? USGS not going to show them. Not now, not ever. We have 3 earthquakes here in Colombia. All 3 earthquakes are minor earthquakes. 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 earthquakes. We go down to Ecuador area. Ecuador has 2 volcanoes, Sangay and Reventador volcanoes. Over here in the mountainous region near those volcanoes, today we have a 3.9 and also a 3.5. 3.5 and a 3.9 near those volcanoes in Ecuador. South of there, also in Zaruma, Ecuador, this is a 5.2 earthquake here today. A 5.2 large earthquake here in Zaruma, Ecuador. Okay? Now, it's in the mountainous region. It's in the mountainous region. But to the northeast, we have some towns here. We have people living here. They felt that earthquake. They felt that earthquake. Okay? 5.2 in Ecuador today. We go further south. Again, USGS is not showing these earthquakes. Okay? We go further south into Peru. Choquaquana, Puno, Peru, we have another 5.2 earthquake there. 5.2 large earthquake over here in Huanaca, Peru. South of there, 2.9. We go into Chile. We have numerous earthquakes here in Chile. 2.9, 3.0, 3.6, 3.9, and a large 5.3 here. A 5.3 here in Atacama, Chile. Or actually not Atacama, Antofagasta, Chile. Antofagasta and Atacama are provinces there in Chile, northern Chile. Around there, like I said, 2.6, 2.8, 3.3, 3.6 earthquakes. Okay, all over that area. Over down the coast, 3.1. South of there, Distrito Las Cuevas, a 4.5 here in central Chile, the central Chile area. On the western side of the mountains here, of the Andes Mountains. This is Mali, Chile. Again, a 3.0 over here in the western foothills of the Andes Mountains. Okay? We always have earthquakes here. Always. Always. We go over into the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Antarctic Ridge, guys. The Pacific Antarctic Ridge. This is close to South America. Let me show you on the map where South America is, where this earthquake is. Okay? South America is over here. This earthquake is several thousand miles over here into the Pacific Ocean on the Antarctic Ridge. This is a 5.33 large earthquake here. Nobody's around it. It's out here in the middle of the cold Pacific Ocean on the Antarctic Ridge. Okay? Let's go further west. Further west. Look at all these. We have a lot of earthquakes here in New Zealand. Happens all the time. The North Island in New Zealand here, these earthquakes are mostly 2.4, 2.5, 2.7, and a bunch of 3s. The same thing down here on the South Island. Canterbury, New Zealand here. Let me just bring it up really quick here. Canterbury, New Zealand, we have a 2.36 earthquake here. Now, one of the things I want to point out to you, over here on the North Island, we have a super volcano here. We have a super volcano here, right here in the middle of the North Island. A 2.96 earthquake at the super volcano. Okay? Super volcano here. A 2.96 minor earthquake. It could be a 2.96, could be classified as a 3.0 small earthquake. Okay? Folks, this volcano here This volcano here in New Zealand has a huge lake at the top of it, like many of the other volcanoes we talk about over in the Pacific Northwest. Has a huge lake in it. What happens when this supervolcano goes? Yes, we've been seeing some 2.0s, 2.4s, 2.5 kind of earthquakes around this area, not at the volcano like this one is. This volcano, guys, has been having a lot of tremors as of late. USGS doesn't talk about it. Rarely do they ever talk about this. Okay? Aubrey says what happens when it goes? It'll explode. Why? Because of the cold water here. This is a cold water lake here in New Zealand. And it will literally explode. It will be a catastrophic explosion with the hot lava hitting that cold water. Okay? And folks, guess what? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people living around the lake here. Communities all around that lake. Communities living all around this lake here. All around the volcano. It's called Topo Volcano. T-A-U-O-P-O. Topo Volcano. Today, a 2.96, 3.0 earthquake hit Topo Volcano here. Okay? That's what's happening. Now, there's some other things going on. Okay? I'm going to take you over to the area near White Volcano in the Bay of Plenty. This is a 2.5 magnitude earthquake right next to White Volcano. White Volcano keeps steaming here. White Volcano a few years ago erupted. It killed a bunch of tourists there. Tourists from England, Australia, and America. It injured a lot of people as well. The tourist boat that was in this area let people off here for a sightseeing tour. It should never have happened. Should never have happened. Okay? Never. Never. I want to show you this. There's a volcano right there. NCWQ, it just gave us a $4.50 super chat. Becky, thank you so much for that. God bless you for that. She says, thanks for the update. Sorry she's late. Becky's been having some issues since she had oral surgery a couple weeks ago. God bless you, Becky. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Iceman is here. Thank you for being here, Iceman. We appreciate it. Also here in the Bay of Plenty, we have a 2.72 earthquake here, a minor earthquake. Look at the earthquake fault here. This earthquake fault comes out of Fiji. This earthquake fault comes out of Fiji, and it runs through the Bay of Plenty here, all the way through the North Island of New Zealand. I want to show you this. Further north here, the Kermadec Islands. This is a 4.71 earthquake, a moderate earthquake up here in the Kermadec Islands. The Kermadec Islands here are bird sanctuary. There are no humans living on the Kermadec Islands, only birds. The only time you can get to the Kermadec Islands is when there is a low tide. High tide. During low tide, if you come anywhere near the Kermadec Islands, your boat will be destroyed by wind-driven waves. Right into the coral and right into the volcanic rock here at the Kermadec Islands. Low tide is not the time to come anywhere near the Kermadec Islands. Okay? Unreal. Further north, also in the Kermadec Islands, there's another 3.93. Basically a 4.0 earthquake. Right next to it, This is a 4.6 also in the Kermadec Islands. Look at these two earthquake faults. Both of these run from Fiji, and well, this one runs from Tonga, but this one runs from Fiji all the way down into New Zealand. Earthquakes that happen here in Fiji and Tonga end up down here frequently in New Zealand. Just so you know. Then we go over here to Tonga and Fiji. Guess what? They're not showing any earthquakes here. None. How about that? This doesn't happen very often. Usually we have plenty of earthquakes here, mostly 4s and 5s. 4.0, 4.9, and 5.0 to 5.5 here in the Fiji and Tonga region. However, further south here in the Loyalty Islands area, New Caledonia, it's owned by the country of France. This is a 4.5 earthquake in New Caledonia. New Caledonia. Actually, I'm sorry, not 4.5, but a 4.9, 5.0. New Caledonia. It's not at the island though, okay? It's down here in the Pacific Ocean. It's down here in the Pacific Ocean, nowhere near land. The ocean waters absorb the strength of this quake. Okay? A 5.0 earthquake, New Caledonia region. Further north, Solomon Islands, another 5.5 earthquake here. 5.5. Papua New Guinea, 4.0. And some large earthquakes too. This is a 5.7. There was some injuries here, and I believe some people died as a result of this earthquake. A 5.7 earthquake. And not to be outdone, here in Biak, Indonesia, a 5.4. Why do these earthquakes hit? This is the world's largest subduction zone. The world's largest subduction zone. There are 7 different tectonic plates that are here. 7 different tectonic plates that are here that influence what's going on. Each and every one of those tectonic plates are doing this number. One going under the other, just like this. That's why the Indonesia area, including the Philippines, going all the way up to Taiwan to the north, have earthquakes. It's a huge subduction area. One tectonic plate going under the other. Now, what else is there? Australia here. You don't see any earthquakes in Australia, but they have them. They have earthquakes here. Folks, they don't talk about it very often. The only people that show earthquakes in Australia is GeoNet. They have their own seismological agency. Usually we'll see earthquakes here on the European agency site because the Europeans want people to know what's going on. But today, no earthquakes here in Australia. Australia is part of the Indo-Australian plate here. Again, subduction going on. Subduction going on. That's why we have earthquakes in Tonga, Fiji, New Caledonia, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, and Papua New Guinea, and up into the Philippines. Now, with that said, I want to show you what's going on. Okay? I have to show you what's going on. Today, we don't have that many earthquakes here in Indonesia. We have a couple up here, this one in northern Sumatra, and this one in southern Sumatra. Northern Sumatra, we have a 3.6, and southern Sumatra, we have a 4.79. Those are moderate quakes. Moderate quakes. Down here in eastern part of Java, 3.7, 2.9, 3.2 eastern Java here. Okay? Further east, here's a 3.7 here. Small quakes. We go north into central Indonesia, a 2.7, a 3.7, a 2.7, and another 3.1, central Indonesia. Usually we have probably 25 to 30 earthquakes here in Indonesia alone. This is quite disturbing to me because this is telling me or kind of what's going on. Why are we not having as many earthquakes here? Again, we usually have 30 to even possibly 40 earthquakes here in Indonesia, and they're not showing them. What's happening? What's happening? Let's go over to northeastern Mindanao, Philippines. The southernmost island in the Philippines, and it's the largest island here. We have a 3.1 earthquake here. Why? Because here, 4 months ago, we had a 8.4, actually no, not, it wasn't 8.4, it was a 9.0 earthquake here. Right there. A 9.0 earthquake out over here, just barely off the coast, the northeast coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Today we have a 3.1 tremor. I shouldn't even say tremor, 3.1 small earthquake. They didn't feel this because it was off the coast, but look where it's at. It's on that same earthquake fault coming out of Indonesia. Earthquakes from Indonesia tend to spawn earthquakes up here in the Philippines, and there are a lot of them. There are quite a few of them. Going north from there, a 3.5. North from there, a 3.4, a 3.1, and a 3.0 on that same earthquake fault. Over on the western side of central Philippines, guys, Masan, Philippines, 3.0. Valderrama, Philippines, a 3.4. Small earthquakes in the Philippines. We go north. Just north of Luzon, Philippines, folks, we have a 5.0 earthquake. A 5.0 earthquake just off the north coast of Luzon, Philippines. Okay? Guess what? They're hardly showing anything here in Japan. They're showing this large earthquake in the Bonin Islands of Japan. This is a 5.4 earthquake here. A 5.4 earthquake in the Bonin Islands. When this earthquake first happened yesterday, there was a 5.2 here in the Volcano Islands. Today, a 5.4 here in the Bonin Islands at 8:39 a.m. this morning. So we've had two large earthquakes in this area in the past 24 hours. Going up into Japan, near Tokyo, Shirohi, Shibaba, Japan, a 3.5 earthquake right there. Just outside of Tokyo, a small earthquake. A small earthquake. They have earthquakes here. Japan has all kinds of earthquakes here, including large and very destructive earthquakes here in Japan. They're better prepared for earthquakes than the United States. Plain and simple. That's not the only earthquake here. Off the east coast of Honshu, we had a moderate 4.3. Okay? 4.3. Further north here, there's a 4.1 near Yamata, Japan. Look at the fault line, guys. Look at this fault line. Coming from all the way down in Indonesia. Okay? From over in Taiwan and all the way down into Indonesia. That's where these earthquakes come from. And one more earthquake south of Hokkaido. This is a 4.2 earthquake here, just south of Hokkaido. Then north of Hokkaido, in the Russian-owned islands of the Kuril Islands. This is a 4.4 moderate earthquake here. Okay? 4.4. Further north, again, that same earthquake fault, guys, the Kamchatka Peninsula. The Kamchatka Peninsula. Okay? That's a 4.0 earthquake. Now, I want to show you something. See this 4.0 earthquake? Where's it going? It's going to go north here to the Aleutian Island Fault Zone. The Aleutian Island Fault Zone starts here and runs eastbound here into Alaska. Eastbound into Alaska. We have some earthquakes over here near Adak, Alaska. A 2.2 and a 0.52 tremor here. A 2.52 minor earthquake and a 0.52 microquake here in Adak, Alaska. Okay? Earthquakes. East of there. Also, 19 miles southeast of Adak, Alaska. This is the 3.9. Small earthquake. 3.9, 4.0. Okay? Further east. These earthquakes that I'm going to show you now are near Dutch Harbor, Alaska. But the problem is something else is going on there. And this earthquake here that I'm going to show you is at a volcano. A 0.42 microquake at a volcano. A volcano. Semi-Sopokonoi, I believe it is. Semi-Sopokonoi volcano. Also a 0.18 there as well. Okay? We have earthquakes and volcanoes, don't we? We absolutely do. We absolutely do. Over at Old Ililama Volcano in Alaska, right there, we have two more earthquakes. Okay? One is a minus 0.37 up by the volcano itself, in the volcano, and here's a 0.34. Microquakes at Old Ililama Volcano here in Alaska. Sometimes we have even more earthquakes than that. At the volcano. At the volcano. Well, guess what, folks? There's more. There's a lot more. South of Mount Redoubt. South of Mount Redoubt, we have a small swarm of earthquakes. Okay? Starting right here. USGS is saying near Pedro Bay, Alaska. This does not look like it's near Pedro Bay. This is just south of Mount Redoubt volcano. Just south of Mount Redoubt. Wild. Minus 0.66. Magma going to Mount Redoubt. Minus 0.67. Minus 0.81. Minus numbers are because they are allegedly above sea level. Above sea level. They're right near the volcano, guys. Right near the volcano. Mount Redoubt volcano. Mount Redoubt volcano, guys. Incredible. Southwest of Mount Redoubt. Okay? Now, folks, this is the Cook Strait right here. The Cook Strait. Coho, Alaska, 1.3. And a 2.6. 2.6 earthquake. Cook Strait. North of Mount Redoubt. North of Mount Redoubt volcano. Look at the swarm of earthquakes here. Look at this. Swarm of earthquakes just north of Mount Redoubt. Interesting. I'm only going to point out a couple of them. Again, minus 0.53. Minus 0.49. Minus 0.9. That is a 1.0 tremor here. 1.0 tremor here north of Mount Redoubt. Linda Covington says she needs to leave early tonight. See you all tomorrow. Linda, thank you for being here. We appreciate you here. God bless you. We really appreciate you so much. Okay? Richard Smith is also reporting a 2.4 in Crete, Greece. That's interesting. Crete, Greece. The USGS is not reporting anything there. Absolutely not a thing. Not one earthquake in Greece. The European agency is showing 20 plus earthquakes in Greece today. I'm going to show you that in just a minute. I want to go over to Denali National Park and point out Mount McKinley. Here is a 1.40 earthquake at Mount McKinley. 1.4 tremor at Mount McKinley today. Northwest of there, a 1.5. East of there, a 1.40. And not to be outdone, but west of there, here's the 1.9 right there. Okay? So now I've shown you what's going on in Alaska, but not yet. Not everything. Going up to the Arctic Circle. Coldfoot, Alaska, we have a 1.50. Coldfoot, Alaska. This is over in the Arctic Circle. This is the Arctic Circle, guys. Coldfoot, Alaska. Right there. That's the Arctic Circle. But we have one other earthquake up here near the north shore of Alaska in the oil and gas pumping operation here. This is Katavik, Alaska. This is a minor, or not minor, this is a minor earthquake, a 2.0 minor earthquake here at Katavik, Alaska, near the oil and gas pumping operations here on the North Shore. Richard Smith is saying about a 1.2 tremor over in the Alps Mountains near Switzerland, and another 3.4 at the North Island of New Zealand. Yeah, earthquakes are happening all over that area. Tons of earthquakes. But that's Alaska. Northwestern Alaska here, we have a 3.0 earthquake there. 3.0 earthquake and one other here near Kobuk, Alaska here. It's a 1.6 here. Near Kobuk, Alaska. Now let's leave Alaska and go over to Europe here. I want to see what's going on. China, or actually Pakistan here. This is a 3.5. 3.5. Tajikistan and Afghanistan here. Tajikistan has a 4.1, a 3.8 in Afghanistan, and another 4.4 also in Afghanistan here. USGS not showing it. Why? Look what's happening over here in the Turkey-Syria border region. This is where we had a 9.0 earthquake here just a year and 4 months ago. A 9.0, 10.0 earthquake right here. And yet we have over 50 earthquakes here. USGS not showing one of them. 50 earthquakes plus. The Turkey-Syria border region here. USGS not showing one of them. Western Turkey here. Why are they not showing here? What's the big deal they're not showing them there? We all want to know, don't we? Over in Greece, guys. Over in Greece. Look at all the earthquakes here in Greece. There's 35, maybe even 40 earthquakes here in Greece, especially over here near Athens. Most of these are 2.3, 2.4, even 2.5 earthquakes here. Going north here, these are 1.7, 1.5. Let's briefly show that so you'll see it. This is a 1.9. 1.9 over there on the eastern shores of Greece. Going north from there, okay? 2.7s, 2.1, 2.1, and 2.4. over here in northwestern Greece. Okay? USGS not showing it. Albania, this is a 2.8. They're not showing that either. Why not? Why not? Why are they not showing these earthquakes near southern Italy here, in the toe of the boot of Italy? What are they? Just briefly north to south. 1.2, Calabria, Italy. 1.4, 1.1 near Carriafero, Sicily. And out here in the ocean just north of Sicily, a 2.8. Now, we go up here. We have 10 plus earthquakes over here on the northern shore of Italy here. 20 plus earthquakes here. I believe the count is now 32 earthquakes here in central Italy. Most of these earthquakes are also 1.0s to 2.4 earthquakes here. Again, we're going to have another 5.0 plus earthquake here. It's a matter of time. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's a matter of time. The last time it happened, we called it. We called it within 2 days of saying that there was going to be a 5.0 earthquake, and there was. Earthquakes are hitting here. USGS not showing it. Further north there in Italy, Romagna, Italy. Here's a 2.5. Right next to it, a 1.0. Also in Romagna, Italy. What's going on over here in western Italy, northwestern Italy? Piedmont, Italy is a 2.4. This is in the southern foothills of the Alps Mountains. Okay? Over in the Alps Mountains, Bonneville, a 1.3, a 1.6, 0.8, and a 1.5. Okay? Then we cross over the Italian Alps. Okay? We go into France. A 1.3, a 0.2, and a 2.8 at the French-Swiss border. Okay? Why are they not reporting those? Inquiring minds want to know. Then in a place called Wartu, we have a 1.2 and a 0.8 Wartu, Switzerland. Okay? Then we go further south in France. South and west in France. We have a 2.3, and we have another 2.5. A 2.3 and a 2.5 right there in western France. Folks, we go further south and west over here to the border region of Spain and France. France here and Spain here. This border region, we typically have 2 to 5 earthquakes. Today we have 2. A 2.1 and a 1.5. Here in the border region of Spain and France. We go further south. We go north over here, northwest, to the Spain-Portugal border. A 1.5 tremor there. We go south into southern Spain here, just north of the Strait of Gibraltar. Costa del Sol Occidental, we have a 2.3. Then we go over here to the northern part of Africa here, Morocco. This is a 2.9, 3.0 earthquake in Morocco. Over just north of there in the Strait of Gibraltar, we have another earthquake there. This is a 3.1 earthquake. A 3.1 earthquake. See this earthquake fault? That's why we have earthquakes here. That's exactly why we have earthquakes here. They don't show those, do they? They're not showing any of those. Over in the Canary Islands, we have a 1.5 near Las Iras, Canary Islands. A 1.5 tremor there. But I'm not leaving this area right now. I want to report on some other earthquakes. Over just east of the center of the Atlantic Ocean. Just east of the center of the Atlantic Plate. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. These are called the Azores Islands here. This is the Central Mid-Atlantic Fault. Let's go north here and see what we have going on. Okay? We're not seeing any earthquakes here in Iceland, are we? Yet there are earthquakes here. There are earthquakes here. Up here on the North Mid-Atlantic Fault here. Okay? This is a 4.1 earthquake just south of Svalbard. South of Svalbard here. We go north to the west side of Svalbard. A 3.8 and a 3.4. On the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Again, the Mid-Atlantic Fault is processing itself and expanding. That is why we're having earthquakes here on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. Okay? But not to be outdone, we haven't left Europe yet, have we? We want to go over to Norway and Sweden. Over in southwestern Norway, this is a 1.2 tremor here. Just south of there. Viken, Norway, a 1.4. Viken, Norway. Okay? Southeast of there. Västra Götalands County, Sweden. Västra Götalands County, Sweden. This is a 1.1 tremor here. Okay? North of there, also in Sweden. Dalarna, Sweden. This is a 1.2 tremor here. North of there, Gävleborg, Sweden. This is a 1.4 tremor here. We never had earthquakes in Sweden or Norway before this last year or so. Never happened. Now we're seeing earthquakes here in Sweden and Norway, Scandinavia, and also Finland. South of Finland here, I believe this is Poland. This is a 2.5 earthquake here in Poland. Okay? Yes, Poland is having earthquakes as well. Now we've been literally around the world. We have literally taken you around the world. Do you have any questions about anything we said? Okay? Do you have any questions about anything we said? Yes, please do not have your messages all caps. You can have a message having a capital letter at the beginning of your sentences, but do not have all caps. YouTube looks at that and says they are yelling. And they will delete you and they will take me off the air. So please don't do it. Okay? Demon Catman says very rare for Norway, and they are getting small to moderate quakes as well. Yeah. Richard Smith says, thank you for all you do, Ron. Thank you for being here, Richard. Thank all of you for being here. Now, I told you that I would have some commentary. Yes, I do have a commentary to talk about. Okay? A lot of things going on, don't we? We have a ton of things going on. Now, folks, there are some things going on that you need to know about. And that's why I'm coming over here to talk about it. Today in court, President Trump was in court in Judge Morrison's courtroom. Another attorney would just happen to be there. Alan Dershowitz, who's also a professor of legal studies and an attorney himself. I want to report what Alan Dershowitz said about the court case with President Trump today. Alan Dershowitz says, quote, I have observed and participated in trials throughout the world. I have seen justice and injustice in China, Russia, Ukraine, England, France, Italy, and Israel, as well as in nearly 40 of our 50 states. But in my 60 years as an attorney and a law professor, I have never seen such a spectacle as the one that I observed today sitting in the front row of the courthouse yesterday. This was yesterday. Judge Marshall in Donald Trump's trial was an absolute tyrant, though he appeared to the jury to be a benevolent despot. A benevolent despot, still a very evil man. A despot is a very evil man, even to the jury. He seemed automatically to be ruling against President Trump at every turn. Every turn. Many experienced lawyers raised their eyebrows when the judge excluded obviously relevant evidence. Judge Marshall was excluding relevant evidence when offered by the defense, President Trump's attorneys, while including irrelevant evidence offered by the prosecution. In other words, idiot Marshall, the judge, was telling the jury, oh, this is okay, it's irrelevant, but relevant information offered by the defense of President Trump, the judge was telling the jury to ignore it. Now, when the defense's only substantive witness came on board to the witness stand, the experienced attorney Robert Costello, he raised his eyebrows at one of the New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchan's rulings. This very experienced attorney Costello, raised his eyebrows when Judge Marshall said something stupid. Then Judge Marshall's rulings that minute, the courtroom went berserk. Losing his cool, Judge Marshall showing his thin skin, and the judge cleared the courtroom of everyone, including the media. The judge evicted everyone from the courtroom. For some reason, the judge allowed Alan Dershowitz to stay, and he observed one of the most remarkable wrong-headed bases that he's ever seen. One of the most wrong-faced biases that he's ever seen. Judge Marshall actually threatened to strike all of Costello's testimony if he raised his eyebrows again. Someone cannot even raise their eyebrows to the judge when the judge does something stupid. This was an attorney that's been an attorney for over 40 years. That, of course, would have been unconstitutional because it would have denied the defendant his Sixth Amendment right to confront witnesses and raise a defense. So Judge Marshall was to the point of not allowing President Trump any kind of defense. It would have been punished the defendant for something a witness was accused of doing, raising his eyebrows. Even if what Costello did was wrong, which it wasn't, it would have been utterly improper and unlawful to strike his testimony. Testimony that undercut the contradicted government star witness. Incredible. The judge's threat was absolutely outrageous, unethical, unlawful, and petty. Moreover, Judge Marshall's effect while issuing that unconstitutional threat revealed his utter contempt for the defense and anyone who testified for the defendant, President Trump. The public should have been able to see the judge in action, but because the case is not being televised, The public has to rely on the biased reporting of particular partisan journalists. The public was even denied the opportunity to hear from journalists who saw the judge in action because he cleared the courtroom. He cleared the courtroom. Alan Dershowitz says he was one of the few witnesses to the judge's improper conduct who remained behind to observe the judge's deep failings. Even when journalists do report on courtroom proceedings, the accounts coming from the journalists must be taken with a grain of salt. When you watch CNN or MSNBC, you generally see an account of a trial that never took place. In other words, the journalists are lying through their teeth about the trial. They spin the event so much that reality is totally disturbed and distorted. Alan Dershowitz says he experienced the distortion firsthand yesterday when he saw one of his former students, a research assistant, who is now a CNN legal analyst named Norman Eisen, during a break, and he went over to him and asked him about his family. This was a man that was a student of Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz said, "We chatted for a few minutes in the most friendly way." But NBC News and the Daily Beast and other media decided to make up a story about the event. They claimed that I had a spat with my nemesis rather than a friendly conversation with a former student. Their account was made up, yet it was circulated through the media. To his credit, Eisen wrote to the media to correct the account, saying that the person sitting next to him would confirm the media's false reporting. I doubt we will see a retraction. So that is what's going on in President Trump's trial. The judge is not allowing any relevant testimony, but is allowing Mr. Cohen's lies and the other lies from the prosecutor, and even Stormy Daniels lying about the president. Demon Catman says agenda. I agree. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. Why should we be allowing this in our courts? Our courts should be the most hallowed institutions of our world. And yet, the courts are a joke. The courts are getting to be worse and worse. Delete Funds is here in the chat saying, be prepared for widespread civil unrest. Oh yeah, it is coming. And it's coming to a place near you. I promise you that. It's coming to a place near you. It's crazy. It's crazy. But folks, each of us has to sit back and allow it to happen. Because of the improper attorneys and judges in our society. This is insane. This is totally insane. This is the end of our broadcast today. Before the total end of our broadcast, I want to share something more spiritual. Because the world is in such turmoil. And even the earthquakes and the weather are bad. I want to share with you from the scriptures about Jesus Christ. In the scriptures it says, I am Alpha and Omega, Christ the Lord. Yea, even I am He, the beginning and the end, the Redeemer of the world. I, having accomplished and finished the will of Him whose I am, even the Father, concerning me, having done this, that I might subdue all things unto myself, retaining all power even to the destroying of Satan and his works at the end of the world, and the last great day of judgment, which I shall pass upon the inhabitants thereof, judging every man according to his works and the deeds of which he hath done. Surely every man must repent, or suffer, for I, God, am endless. Wherefore I revoke not the judgments which I shall pass, but woes shall go forth, weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth. Yea, to those who are found on my left hand. Nevertheless, it is not written that there shall be no end to this torment, but it is written endless torment. Again, it is written eternal damnation. Wherefore it is more expressed than other scriptures, that it might work upon the hearts of the children of men, altogether for my name's glory. The Lord is not going to let this continue. The Lord is going to hold those people accountable for what they do. Brothers and sisters, I have a testimony of Jesus Christ. Lone craftsman, I was reading from the scriptures. Brothers and sisters, I have a testimony of Jesus Christ. He is in charge. He and our Heavenly Father hear our prayers, and they answer us. They will always give us answers that we need for our individual lives. May God be with you and bless you. I want to thank all of those who have given us super chats, and all those who joined us here in our membership on the EMA channel. I appreciate that. Delete Fun says he's got to go until we meet again. That's what I'm about to say. Folks, if anything else happens tonight, we will be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Stand tall, everybody. 23 Angels Sci-Fi says, Patriots stand strong. I agree. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. I appreciate each and every one of you that have been with us. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you tomorrow evening, if not before. Have a good night, everybody. Much love.